Hi everyone, today I wanted to talk to you about another deck from Worlds 2000. From Brussels actually. Well, this deck was the World Champion, as you see over here. It is made by, it was played by John Finkel, and he won quite a lot on his name. Not only in 2000 but in other years as well. He was a well-known player back in the day. Maybe you guys heard of him if you recently started playing Magic. I don't know if he's still that well known amongst players. Well, anyway, John Finkel. Let's start with the story. World Champion was the honor John Finkel had yet to claim. His dominating performance at this year's World Championship earned him that title at last. Finkel played an explosive deck that is named after its most important card, Tinker. Fellow Team Antarctica member Dan O'Mahony Schwartz designed this mono blue deck. Well, there we have the designer. It wasn't John Finkel. The deck used artifacts such as Grim Monolith, Metalworker and Voltaic Key to quickly generate huge amounts of mana and then use that mana to put large creatures into play. Yes! Yes, yes, yes. Many times yes. I love the deck. Here is the deck list. We'll get over the cards in just a second. There is his autograph. Yeah, the deck is from 2000. Alright, what do we have? We start off the deck with Masticore. Masticore is, just like I said, no, just like I'm going to say, no, wait, that was this week. From the Vault Relics. This one was featured in From the Vault Relics. So it is 4 mana, 4/4, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you may choose and discard a card from your hand. If you don't, sacrifice Masticore. Yeah. And for 2 mana, you can have Masticore deal 1 damage to target creature, and for 2, he can regenerate. 4 mana, 4/4, we have 4 Masticores in the deck. Next up, Metalworker. It's a 3 mana, 1/2 creature, and if you tap it, you can reveal any number of artifacts in your hand and add 2 colorless mana to your mana pool for each card revealed this way. That really adds up because it's an artifact deck. There are 4 in the deck. I couldn't find the 4th black bordered one, so I included my own just for the purpose of this. Not to have an empty sleeve in here. So yeah, this is a pretty good card. Still a good card. Phyrexian Colossus. 7 mana. It's an 8/8 and it doesn't untap during your untap phase. If you pay 8 life, you can untap it, and it cannot be blocked by fewer than 3 creatures. This is the main powerhouse in the deck. Strike him with the Colossus. Then we have 4 Brainstorms. It is the, who doesn't know Brainstorm? It is the 1 mana instant. You can draw 3 cards, then put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. This is the Brainstorm with the beautiful art from Mercadian Masks. Alright, then we have Crumbling Sanctuary for 5 mana. It's an artifact. For each 1 damage that would be dealt to a player, that player removes the top card of his or her library from the game instead. Yeah, there's an alternate, and this is an alternate win condition, where you can substitute the damage for a deck out. Here we have Grim Monolith, 4 times in the deck as well. This card is mighty expensive these days. I'm glad I own one. Still very expensive. If you have a foil one of this, it is crazy expensive. Right, an artifact for 2 mana. It doesn't untap in its untap step, and if you tap it, you gain 3 colorless mana to your mana pool. And for 4, you can untap it. So yeah, it costs 2, it gives 3, and it untaps for 4. Part prison, part home. 4 times in the deck. Mishra's Helix for 5 mana. It is an artifact, and when you pay X, you can untap X lands. No, sorry, you can tap X lands. You can really screw an opponent over with this one. Especially if they have few mana in play, or in their deck in general. Phyrexian Processor. It is a 4 mana artifact, and when it comes into play, you can pay any amount of life. And if you pay 4, you put a minion token into play, treat the token as a black creature with power and toughness equal to the amount of life paid at the time Fraction Processor came into play. Yeah, back in the day when I was playing this deck with friends, when I was learning the game, I usually made the mistake of paying 19 lives. I was so greedy at that time. Probably most starting players are greedy and will pay 19 lives. So yeah, my opponent just played a shock and it was all over. Or just shattered it, the Fraction Processor, and it was gone and I didn't have anything. So yeah, my suggestion is probably keep it at 10 max, 5 to be safe. If this gets destroyed, you will not get your life back. Shame. But still, it's a very nice card. Just a couple of hits with this dude and the Phyrexian Colossus and the Massacre. Yeah, and you've won. Tangle Wire, one of my favorite cards from Nemesis, from the time, actually from the entire Macadian block. It is an artifact for 3 mana and it is fading 4. So it means that it comes into play with 4 fade counters on it. And at the beginning of your upkeep you remove a fade counter from it. If you cannot, sacrifice it. And what it does is at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player taps an untapped artifact, creature or land he or she controls for each fade counter on Tangle Wire. So basically it comes into play with 4 fade counters. Then you pass a turn because you don't have to tap anything. It's at the beginning. Then your opponent taps 4 of those. Then it's your turn, the fade counter gets away and you tap only 3. So you never experience the 4. This is a very good card to disrupt your enemy, your opponent, and to gain yourself some valuable time. Next up, Thran Dynamo, 4 times as well. It is 4 mana, and if you tap it, you gain 3 colorless mana to your mana pool. Great way to accelerate your deck, or to just blast your army, your opponent's army away with Massacre. Tinker. This is what the deck's name is all about. Tinker. With my favorite Magic Gathering female character, Joyra. Hello there, Joyra. It is 3 mana, 2 colorless, 1 blue. And at the time you play Tinker, sacrifice an artifact. Well, as you have seen, the deck has many artifacts. So that's not a problem. Then you can search your library for an artifact card and put it into play. Really, you can just put it into play. Nothing to worry about, just throw it out there. So you can just look up whatever you like and just play it. 4 cards in here. Back in the day this card wasn't banned, it wasn't restricted. These days I believe it is banned. I can't really remember, but I believed it was banned. Or are times changing again and again and it is unbanned? I have no clue anymore. Voltaic Key. Very powerful card in this deck. It is only 1 mana. It's an artifact, and for 1 mana you can tap it. You untap target artifact. So you can untap that Phyrexian Colossus or the Grim Monolith. You name it. Really. Just untap your stuff. Crystal Vein. Cool card from 6th edition. Originally printed in Mirage. It's a non-basic land. You can tap it for 1 colorless mana or sacrifice it and add 2 colorless mana. Also 4 of these. Then we have 9 islands. Rishadan Port times 4. Just like the other deck, most of the decks in this time ran Rishadan Port because it's colorless and you can tap target land. An opponent controls if you like, or your own, but mostly your opponent's, I guess. And finally, for the main deck, we have 4 Surprising Scary. Surprising Scary comes into play with 2 depletion counters on it. If you remove a depletion counter, then you add 2 blue mana. If there are no more depletion counters on Surprising Scary, you sacrifice it. So yeah, this is... I can remember playing this card back in the days. I thought it was kind of slow, but then again, yeah, we didn't have much else of a choice. These days, this card would probably not be played anymore. It's too sucky these days, mind you. Right, for the sideboard we have 4 times Annul. Annul is a counter-target artifact or enchantment spell for only 1 blue mana. 4 times. Then we have 4 times Chill. Again, just like the other deck had a Chill in the sideboard, red spells cost 2 more mana to play. It's an enchantment for 2. Yeah, you wouldn't be crazy to run this card in your sideboard. I believe the top 4 decks, besides the Tinker deck and the Replenish deck from last week, also contained red. Red-green or mono-red? Well, Chill is your friend. Miscalculation, 2 mana. Counter-target spell unless its caster pays an additional 2. Very nice card, and it is cycling 2. So if you don't want to use it, cycle it to draw another card, you can 4 times. Another Mishra's Helix, because 1 is not enough. Rising Waters. It's a 4 mana enchantment. Lands don't untap during your controller's untap steps. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player untaps a land he or she controls. Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, if your opponent is really relying on mana, you should definitely play this card. This deck has a lot of mana generation, artifacts that make colorless mana, so why not put this in here? It's an awesome card for the deck. So there you have it. The strategy is very basic. Just pump out all the artifacts that you can. Just untap it, attack with it, sneak it into play. More mana. Opponent's Disruption, and this is a nice card as well. So yeah, the deck basically just speaks for itself. It's an amazing deck. I love to play it. I love to play both of the decks from this year, from 2000. Yeah, next time we don't have the other 2 decks. Unfortunately, I don't have them. I will have to take a look at buying them, because I really want to finish the 2000 series. But next time we will have Sydney, August 2002. Yes. See you guys next week. Bye-bye.